Oye, and welcome back. So we're continuing our series about updating and installing and getting active and licensed STK 13.0 for, as the filming of this video, the Stellar Explorers Season 12. And so we've had a couple of videos up to this point that have shown kind of the formatting and the setup. Going back over to our next steps page, we saw earlier in a previous video generating our license file. We dragged it or selected it and put it here. It has been 1 to 3 business days, and I was able to receive my license back from Stellar Explorers. I've downloaded it and made it available on this computer, so I don't have to get it from my email. You can always download it. It would go into your downloads folder, but I don't want to have my email open on a live video. So we're moving back down. We also went through and out of order from the actual recommendations on this. Again, if you've done all of those things and have already received your license, then you could go in and install, and you'd see some of the stuff that we're going to bring up in just a moment, just as a matter of course of downloading and installing. In fact, I should keep going down. The big thing that we're going to be looking at is adding the license in the ANSYS License Manager system, and then also going in and setting up our ports as appropriate, and then we'll finish with opening up STK and taking a look to see that everything is working appropriately. So let's get started with that. So we're around here in our actual following of the instructions from Stellar Explorers. Again, mine is a little bit different if you watch my videos specifically because I installed the software before getting the license. That means that I have to do an extra step in here. If you get the license first and then do the install, you would actually see the screens we're about to see. But in the event that you didn't do that, let me show you how to access them. So I like to go to my little search bar thingy. In fact, you can actually see that I prepared for this and search for them there. But let's pretend I didn't do that, and let's go ANSYS. The things that we're going to be looking for are going to be the License Manager Center, and I believe that's the first thing that we want. So I'm going to click on that and open it up. Now, it may tell me, hey, we got some stuff and whatnot, but this is something that I want to get running on here, and I've used their materials for years and years with no problems. So I'm going to click yes, and it's going to open up this thing that we would have seen at the end of doing the install. Now, I'm going off of memory here, and I'm a little low on sleep, but I'm pretty certain we're going over here on the left to License File Options and Add License File. Now, hopefully I've remembered which computer is getting which file, but I'm pretty certain I have. So then it says Choose File. We're going to click Browse, and it's going to bring up a thing for us to navigate to where your file is. Now, here's where you're going to have to keep track of where your file is. If you downloaded it from your email, there's a good bet that it ended up in your Downloads folder, and you can click over here. That is not where mine is going to be, though. I put it on my desktop. So I've gone over to my desktop, I've selected that, and I can see it here, StellarX 12-0999. Once again, not a team that is actually registered. This is something that we've set up so that we can get this video to help support teams. And then I have a -02 because there was a thing with the -01, but that should be the correct license file. If you are getting several license files, they are not interchangeable. You must find the one that was made with your computer because it has detailed information about the setup of your computer. Namely, the computer name, like I mentioned before, don't change that, and the host ID info. So you must match the correct one. So let's see. When I've got this, it says the license manager will be started when you upload this license file. Are you sure? And yes, I am very sure. I'd like to install it. So we're going to go through, see if we get any errors. And it says the license file has been installed successfully. Looks like we're good. And up here, I forgot to mention it before, but we used to have, I think, a red dot or something like that. It looked very angry. But now we have a green check mark. And I believe everything is set. Just to be safe, I'm going to go through and look. So here, that's what the picture here for the ANSYS thing is. It says go to add license file. If this is your first time running it or something like that, it may tell you that you need to run as an administrator. You'll need administrator rights to your computer that you're working on. So you might, for some of you, you might have to interface with IT and have IT actually walking through this. It varies from district to district or computer to computer based on the network settings and security, that sort of thing. Okay, so the other thing that sometimes is a problem, we're going to proactively go after it, is to go after setting up our port. So on this, I can minimize this, I can close these, but I'm just going to minimize them for now. I'm going to go back over to my search, and I'm going to go to ANSYS, and I'm looking for Now, as a heads up, I have an older version of STK, STK12, still on here. I haven't deleted it yet, though I will very soon because I need the space. But I think between these two, I know that the recent one, the 13.0, was the STK ODTK, so I don't know if there's going to be a big difference between that, but in case you see several of them, I'm pretty certain that's the one we're going with. We're going to find out. So I'm going to go in here. Looks like the interface that I'm familiar with, and let's see. I'm going to click Enabled. I'm going to go Port 10055, and here's where you are going to need to know the name of your computer. When you generated your license file, it's actually in there, so if you open it as a text file, you'll actually see the name of the computer in there. Or you can always go over and, on search, My Computer. Let's see, at least that's supposed to work. Fine. The newer version of Windows hides things in places that I'm not familiar with. Computer name. View your PC name. I'm going to click that. This is how you can find it, at least on Windows 11. And then down here, we've got device name, Lyra, from my computer. Your computer will be named something different. Here's also where you can rename your computer. Do not do that, especially if you've already requested a license. It can cause issues where if you change the name, you'll have to go through the process again, and it's a pain. My IT actually tried switching the name on some of our computers that we were using, and it caused a huge issue. We had to switch it back, and then everything worked. Anyway, just a heads up. Test. And I've got a green check mark. If you don't have a green check mark, then you may be running into some tech issues. Feel free to reach out to Stellar Explorers, maybe AGI, but start with Stellar Explorers, at least for the purposes of this, and go from there. I don't know that you have to, but I'm going to click, save. Okay, it said could not set FlexNet server. Okay, not familiar with that. I'm not a tech guru. I'm just doing my best on here. I'm going to close these. Oh, do you really want to save? Let's see. It's telling me, do you really want to close the application? Any unsaved changes will be lost. I'm going to click cancel. Test. And I thought I could save, though it's saying could not send FlexNet servers. I am online. We'll come back and double check that here in just a minute. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Instead of closing that, let's see if it throws an error at me. Let's try opening up STK 13. So I'm going to go over here and load this up, and we'll see if it gives me any errors. It's giving me an error. A current SDK license could not be found. Start the ANSYS client licensing settings to assist. Why, yes, I would love to. Maybe I brought up the wrong thing, so we're learning together. Again, it may have brought up the one, interesting. I did not foresee this. It's possible I should have deleted or uninstalled my old STK12, so I'm going to close this. I'm going to say, yes, close. And then I'm going to try and enable this one. Maybe I just brought up the wrong one. Maybe there are two because of the old install. I'm going to leave this video going because it's mostly the same look, and if you don't get the error, then that sounds fine. Test, I've still got my green light. And this time it seems to have saved. Okay, I've now learned a thing. I will look into it and see I probably clicked the wrong thing, but we can see the way to go around that. If nothing else, you probably don't even have to go searching for it. Try opening STK 13 and let's see, hey, it's not giving me a license error anymore. So this may be something that happens to you all, especially if you've done Stellar Explorers before and still have STK12 installed. So maybe my, searching it wasn't the best approach. If nothing else, just try and load it and then go off of the interfaces that it's got there. So let's see if this works, because that's all I really care about, at least right now. So I'm going to go OK. And then where would I like my files to be saved? I could always change that. This is a perfectly fine spot, though. Documents folder. It'll be nice and easy to find. Yes, use my info to enable online features I'm entitled to. This is where it allows access to the internet to get things like Bing, which is the thing that allows it to fill in the topography, like satellite imagery. If you zoom in enough on the planet, so here's an example, and then the terrain server, basically there's additional information that you can get by allowing it to have access to the internet. So you probably want to do that unless you have a really strong reason not to. I would say yes, leave it enabled. Copy files from STK12 user library. Sure, why not? I don't know of any reason why I shouldn't, so I'm going to leave those checked, and I'm going to click OK. I've selected connect to the internet. Please certify that I've read ANSYS privacy policy and understand how my information will be collected and used. I have read that. You can read it, and if you disagree, then you could always select no, don't use the online. But I am going to click yes. And here we go. Okay, this is the first time that I've actually seen this. Let's see, I have access to multiple product licenses. Select the product that you would like to launch. In this case, we are advised, though it looks different, I'm going to keep scrolling down. In the old STK12, we were told, hey, we always wanted to go with STK Premium Space, and I believe that's what we're looking for. The long and short of it, my understanding is, for STK Premium Space, it loads a lot of the files that you need for space-based operations, which is what Stellar Explorers is focused on. So we definitely want that. STK Premium Air, that loads more resources if we were going to do things like put aircraft in the atmosphere, that sort of thing, which is not something that happens as much with Stellar Explorers, so that's why we don't necessarily want that. And then on the old one, it had STK Enterprise, which combines space and air, but again, we don't really need the air aspect, so we want to focus on what we're looking for. On top of that, according to their existing information right now, even though it looks like it's an old picture, my understanding is we are still using STK Premium Space, so that's the one that I'm actually going to go with. STK Premium Space. And so we're going to go with that. Let's see, STK Pro capabilities plus AstroGator, EOIR, and more. I recognize some of those things, but I think this is what we're looking for based on my information before. Includes capabilities such as coverage. Ooh, actually, let me check more. Let's see. This is a lot of information. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we are learning something together, viewer. STK Pro. Premium Space seems to have more options than Pro, so that's important information for me. And again, it matches what they had said before. The thing that made me actually want to check this is coverage, because area coverage is something that we've done a number of times before. Oh, includes all the STK Pro capabilities. It's been a long day. Sorry about that. This will probably ask every time you load up. You could select the don't show me this again in the future. So I'm going to uncheck that for now, but you probably want to check it. We'll see what Stellar Explorers says. So I'd like to keep the option to change this if I need. Here we go, continue. We are almost done. At least, assuming everything loads. I'm doing this live, effectively. I haven't actually run through this before, because if I had already installed the license file, then we wouldn't have seen these things. So the goal is to see, hopefully, what you all would see. STK has detected multiple graphics cards. You'll see this from time to time on some of the computers, particularly if you have a computer that has a higher than normal graphics card, because it'll have a built-in like super basic graphics card, but then it'll also have like a more souped up graphics card. This is a gaming laptop that I'm actually using, and so it doesn't surprise me that it's giving me that error. If you don't see this error, that's perfectly fine. If you do see this error, it's also fine. So in this case, it's asking me about these and telling me which graphic card it's using, which in this case is my NVIDIA, the good one, which is what we would want. Okay, I'm gonna click OK. Here we go. And then we could have, here's where you could open a scenario. I'm just going to create one and make certain everything's loading up properly. I'm using this for the first time in front of you viewers. Okay, one thing I was wondering about was if they changed the outlook or the layout in such a way that I would be confused, and I can see already this appears to be the STK I know and love, but it is no longer 12.5, it is 13.0. Truly, we are in the future. So I'm excited at the changelog stuff, the things that they've that they've altered in this, so I'm happy that we're going to start playing around with a slightly more powerful version. But STK has always been great. Okay, so in this, it'll allow you to insert regular objects. I'm not going to play around with that. I'm just going to close that, make certain everything's looking fine. And then everything looks good. In the past, whenever I had a problem, it would have given me an error by now. So I'm going to conclude this video and then double check. I'll have an addendum if there's anything that I didn't see, but I think this is pretty much everything that you're looking for. The last thing that I wanted to mention was we were warned that if you load a file, so for instance, I'm going to minimize this, go over to my scenarios, I think this works, QR1, I could go to the A series, A1, and now this file used to have a blue icon. Now with the old STK, we had the blue circle icon and it looked like that. Now we have the updated STK with this yellow, orangish. I'm still getting used to the colors, but opening this up, if I open this file in STK 13.0 and save it through that, my understanding is that file will no longer be backwards compatible with STK 12. So that is one thing to keep an eye out for. Not that I think that's going to be a huge issue. My understanding is starting this season, we're embracing STK13, so those are the files that we're going to be working with. The old ones should work fine. In fact, hey, we're here. I'm going to try opening this up real quick, since I actually had one that was easy to take a look at. Hey, it's asking me that again. Maybe I do want to select the don't show me this again. I'm going to wait and do it after I double check with Stellar Explorers in case I'm selecting the wrong thing. But I think we're good. Configuring window layout, and here we go. This one is peeking at Kit, where we are looking at Kit Peak Observatory. This is one of my basic scenarios, but everything's looking good. And so everything's loading up fine. I'm going to press the play button, and here we go. Look at the Earth spin, and there goes the satellite. Okay, I think everything's set. So on this, one thing that they mentioned is when we save this, it will make this file only compatible with 13.0 and later is the information that I've got right now. So user be warned. Okay, hopefully this was useful for you. If you run into any technical issues, then reach out to, I would say, Stellar Explorers first, but then there's also AGI, and then we'll see what we can do about getting things up and running, but hopefully we've checked out any of the issues you might run into. All right. Until next time.